and beyond in their efforts to find a cause and force a turnaround in what at first seemed to be an irreversible death spiral as I failed to respond to triple antibiotics. My medical history of recent travel to Israel, as part of my work coordinating global research in focused ultrasound surgery, raised great concern among my doctors. Around the time of my visit, physicians at the Tel Aviv Sourasky Medical Center had reported the world's first well-documented case of spontaneous plasmid transfer of the Klebsiella pneumonia carbapenemase (KPC) gene from a deadly gram-negative organism into a patient's previously uninfected intestinally, coli, conferring total antibiotic resistance on the latter. The terrifying implications for a disastrous pandemic if such an E. coli ever escaped the strict isolation of a hospital ICU were obvious, and my doctors considered that I might represent such a case. My neurological examinations were consistent with diffuse cortical damage plus extraocular motor dysfunction, brainstem damage. My CT scans revealed global neocortical involvement, and, on the third day, my cerebrospinal fluid (CSF) protein was 1,340 mg per deciliter, my CSF white blood cell count 4,300 per mm3, and my CSF glucose level was down to 1 mg per deciliter, compared with the normal value of 60 to 80 mg/dl. I was extremely ill, with diminishing chances for survival and virtually no chance for recovery. My physicians never found a cause for my mysterious malady. Fortunately, my E. coli finally started to respond. On the seventh day of my coma, to everyone's surprise, I opened my eyes and started to come back. I was rapidly extubated by the shocked intensivist. A family friend who was there could not get over how my amazed expression looked more like the astonished gaze of an infant, not like what one would expect from an adult returning from an unconscious state. A recent objective medical review of my records coordinated by Dr. Bruce Grayson came to the following conclusions. 3 physicians not associated with Lynchburg General Hospital completed an independent review of the complete medical record of Dr. Alexander's hospitalization and spoke with the hospital's 2 consulting neurologists to gather additional information. The records indicated that Dr. Alexander was brought to the emergency department unresponsive, with evidence of a bacterial infection, and he was assessed to have moderate brain injury, which rapidly progressed to severe brain injury over the next few hours. Brain scans showed that the membranes covering the brain as well as the grooves in his cerebral cortex were swollen with pus-filled liquid, compressing the cortical tissue. Laboratory examination showed evidence of a bacterial infection in his cerebrospinal fluid, due to an organism that very rarely causes meningitis in adults, and, when it does, is almost always fatal or resulting in permanent neurological deficits. Nevertheless, after a profound near-death experience, Dr. Alexander eventually awoke from his coma, and within a few months had made what his surprised neurologists called a complete and remarkable recovery from an illness they agreed might well have been fatal, without any residual neurological deficit. If one had asked me before my coma how much a patient would remember after such severe meningitis, I would have answered nothing and been thinking in the back of my mind that no one would recover from such an illness, at least not to the point of being able to discuss their memories. Thus, you can imagine my surprise at remembering an elaborate and rich odyssey from deep within coma that comprised more than 20,000 words by the time I had written it all down during the 6 weeks following my return from the hospital. My older son, Eben Alexander IV, who was majoring in neuroscience at the University of Delaware at the time, advised me to record everything I could remember before I read anything about near-death experiences, NDEs, physics or cosmology. I dutifully did so, in spite of an intense yearning to read everything I could about those subjects, based on the stunning character of my coma experience. My meningoencephalitis had been so severe that my original memories from within coma did not include any recollections whatsoever from my life before coma, including language and any knowledge of humans or this universe. That scorched earth intensity was the setting for a profound spiritual experience that took me beyond space and time to what seemed like the origin of all existence. Those memories began in a primitive, coarse, unresponsive realm, the earthworm's eye view or EV, from which I was rescued by a slowly spinning clear white light associated with a musical melody that served as a portal up into rich and ultra-real realms. The Gateway Valley was filled with many earth-like and spiritual features, vibrant and dynamic plant life, with flowers and buds blossoming richly and no signs of death or decay, waterfalls into SP.